Hey y'all, we're back with another movie review. My name is Sarah. Thank you for joining me here today for this movie review. Today we're going to talk about Werewolves Within. It is such a good film. I had to recommend it to you all. I also have a blog post that I wrote that goes into a little bit more detail, has some really cool stills that I pulled from the movie. If you guys want to check it out, I'll make sure to link it below. I didn't realize that this movie is based on a video game. I've never played this game and never heard of this game. That wasn't my motivation for watching it. I was getting back into watching more indie horror films, and this one came up in my search. So first thing I noticed were all of the faces in this movie. I was like, this is a very odd cast. And also, this is a star-studded cast for this lower budget indie movie. And number two, just watching the trailer, I was very intrigued by the story. The folklore of the werewolf. The town loses power during a winter storm, and there's like a mystery whodunit when they find someone has been murdered. You know, everybody's pointing the finger at everybody else. So it is a horror comedy, and it is genuinely funny and full of those quirky characters, just awkward. I really enjoyed this film from the very first opening scene. There's an older man, he's walked away from a cabin. You hear the notification on his phone, and it's like somebody whistling. And he's, you know, looking at his phone, looking behind him at the cabin. So it's clear that he's trying to be secretive. And then you hear branches snap underfoot, and then next thing you know, he's like being yanked into the woods, and there's like, ah! So I was intrigued because in the next scene, there is a quote that's like in the traditional like horror script. And the quote is from Mr. Rogers. After that, you see our main protagonist. He's the new ranger. The small town that he's traveling to is set near a lot of protected lands, and he's been stationed there to kind of keep an eye on things. He's in the car and he's listening to what I think is a self-help book, but the subject matter is about not being a pushover, being more aggressive and manly and masculine, which immediately set the tone for the type of awkward, you know, kind of conversations that people get into. So he gets into town and he goes to the local tavern because that's where he's staying, and apparently that's where everybody stays. And while he's there, he gets introduced to all of our other characters in the movie. You know, Cecily, the male person, as she refers to herself, she's like, yeah, male person, you know, gender is a construct, just like that. And I thought that was hilarious because it's so random. He just met you. He doesn't know you. But all of the characters are like that. You know, he gets introduced to, he's a representative from a utility company who's there. He's trying to sell the other residents on the idea of selling their property and allowing the utility company to establish gas lines through the town. And half of the residents are like, nah, we're not really into it. And the other half are like, yeah, we want to get paid. So there's like this whole tension with that, and that undercurrent is throughout the entire movie. Even with all of this, oh my gosh, the power is out, and oh my gosh, the winter storm, and oh my gosh, dead bodies piling up. There's this this like consistent tension between everybody, the resentments between couples, and everybody has their own motivations, everybody has their own thing. And in a cast this big, that's really refreshing to see because you get enough from each person. It's not like, oh, let's throw all these wacky characters together and just see what happens. It's more like people are just weird and they just so happen to be in the same situation together. And I love that. I love that there was not so much of an emphasis on their weird behavior or their quirks, and we just like move right past it because we have other more pressing matters, like the fact that someone appears to have sabotaged the generators. It wasn't due to the storm, and the storm is getting worse and we can't travel anymore, and oh my gosh, what attacked that other man? The whodunit aspect is really my favorite part. It's almost set up like Clue, you know, instead of like Professor Plum, we have Professor Ellis. You know, instead of Miss Peacock, we have male person Cecily. So it's like who was where when this went down. And that was also something that I wasn't expecting, but something that I really enjoyed about the movie. Yes, there were some continuity issues. Yes, there were some plot hole issues, but nothing that really distracted from the film. So please let me know what you think about these movies if you've actually watched them. You know, what did you think? What did you like? What did you not like about the characters or the casting? I love the location. The cabin is like perfect, rustic, creepy, and the reason for it being there was like this older couple were retired and they bought a cabin in the woods, and you know, they have a bed and breakfast there, and I'm like, that's it. That's all we need to know. You know, you see pictures of their lives on the wall, so you see that they're an adventurous couple, and this is just something that they decided to do in their later years together. Makes sense. Don't need much more information than that, because we want to know who did it, who done it, who is the perpetrator, like who is responsible for all of this. Yeah, I kind of figured out, you know, who it was early on, but that did not ruin the movie for me. So highly recommend it. I would give it a 4 out of 5. Definitely recommend it if you like comedies and if you like horror movies, because there were some really well done, creepy, unexpected moments. I think it's just, overall, it's a good time. Thank you all for spending your time here with me. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys next time.